Global warming is a serious problem. Let me put my glasses back on so I can read the rest of this. If we don't act right now, we might not have a planet to pass down to our grandkids. But you don't have to be Captain Planet to save the Earth. Yes, I just dated myself with a Captain Planet reference. I don't care, though, because he's awesome. Let's do this. This is Epic How 2. Stop global warming.
Global warming.
Hi, I'm Emerald Robinson, and in this What Is video, we're going to discuss global warming. Global warming is defined as a consistent rise in the Earth's average temperature. Global warming is not the same thing as, and in fact contributes to, climate change, the change that occurs in the Earth's average weather over an extended period of time.
Greenhouse effect is the trapping of the sun's warmth in the planet's lower atmosphere due to the greater transparency of the atmosphere to visible radiation from the sun.
This is normally something useful. It helps us grow things like tomatoes out of season. That's because it's nice and warm inside a greenhouse. The sunlight enters and visible light penetrates the glass. This is partly absorbed by the plants in the soil and partly reflected on the outside as invisible heat radiation. As a result, temperatures rise inside the greenhouse.
Climate change itself is certain to cause weather patterns and conditions never experienced before. Much of the litigation for dealing with it is also uncharted territory. It will expose new risks for business and new opportunities to induce sustainable change. Companies themselves have been calling on governments to create clear and consistent frameworks such as a price on carbon so that they can adjust their approach.
It's going to be larger in cold places at cold times than in warm places at warm times. And the reason for this is fairly straightforward physics, that the global warming is coming through the greenhouse effect of carbon dioxide. Water vapor is also a greenhouse gas, I think a stronger greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. The warmer the climate, the more water vapors in the air. The more water vapors in the air, the less the effect of adding carbon dioxide. You can't stop more than 100% of the infrared coming up from the Earth's surface, which is what global warming is, what greenhouse effect is basically doing.
Here are some examples of global warming's doing. Greenhouse gases trap heat in the atmosphere, which makes Earth warmer. People are adding several types of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, and each gas has an effect on the climate change.
So much that it feels like a buzzword, but it is far from it. Climate change is a real and serious issue. But isn't the climate always changing? What exactly is climate changing? Why should we care? Well, the Earth's climate has changed throughout history. Most of these slight changes are caused by small variations in the Earth's orbit. But climate change as we know it today is characterized by an abrupt increase in the Earth's temperature. It is estimated to have gotten 1.2 to 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit warmer in just the last century. 10 out of the last 13 years were the warmest on record. 97% of climate scientists agree that this new tendency is not caused by the variations of the Earth's orbit, but rather very likely caused by human activities. That means you and me. And since the Industrial Revolution, we have come a long way. Humans built airplanes, faster cars, developed remarkable technology, and learned how the natural resources around us can be used for our benefit. Although this has led to many wonderful inventions and advancements, like the device you're using to watch this video, or the ability to take a plane halfway around the world, it also means we've increased our consumption of natural resources and, in turn, released a lot of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Now, greenhouse gases occur naturally, but in excess can be dangerous to our planet. Modern human activities have increased the release of non-naturally occurring greenhouse gases because we have stepped up our demand for burning fossil fuels. The composition of greenhouse gases traps heat radiated from the sun. The more heat they trap, the warmer our planet gets. And as our planet gets warmer, we begin to feel the effects.
Some effects of global warming. 150,000 people die every year from climate change, displacement, disruption to agriculture, clash over scarce water and food supplies, poorer countries affected most, financial cost of flooding, harvesting, water, disease, rainforests.
Since as early as the 19th century, the Earth's climate has been progressively changing. If we continue on our destructive path, many creatures will be on the verge of extinction. Between rising temperatures and increasing sea levels, various species are quickly realizing they have nowhere else to hide.
Effects on global warming. We need to cut our emissions of greenhouse gases, especially developing countries. They can help to reduce theirs. The government and the UK are working to gain agreement to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions across the world. Everyone must act together, government, businesses, and individuals.
Some ways to help that may surprise you. You will need a city residence, food from industrial farms, a mainly vegetarian diet, and adherence to the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Optional, a white roof. Step 1, live in a city. Urbanites own fewer cars, tend to live in...
What we can do as individuals: get informed, get involved. Read books, newspapers, watch films and DVDs on global warming. Fly less. Conferences can be held over webcam. Take public transportation or walk, bike, and carpool. Purchase electricity from sustainable energy sources. Don't be lazy. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
It is happening right now. It is the most urgent threat facing our entire species, and we need to work collectively together and stop procrastinating. We need to support leaders around the world who do not speak for the big polluters or the big corporations, but who speak for all of humanity, for the indigenous people of the world, for the billions and billions of underprivileged people who will be most affected by this, for our children's children, and for those people out there whose voices have been drowned out by the politics of greed. I thank you all for this amazing award tonight. Let us not take this planet for granted. I do not take tonight for granted. Thank you so very much. Agreement. Now is the time for bold, unprecedented action. My friends, look at the delegates around you. It is time to ask each other, which side of history will you be on? A solution to this crisis. But after 21 years of debates and conferences, it is time to declare no more talk, no more excuses, no more 10-year studies, no more allowing the fossil fuel companies to manipulate and dictate the science and policies that affect our future. This is the body that can do what is needed. All of you sitting in this very hall, the world is now watching. You will either be lauded by future generations or vilified by them.
Overwhelming majority of scientists are taking, and there is no more debate. The overwhelming majority of scientists are saying, A, climate change is real. Climate change is caused by human activity. Climate change is already causing devastating problems in the United States and around the world. And if we do not get our act together by significantly reducing carbon and methane emissions, that situation will only get worse. That is not really a debate anymore, and that we have a major political party that is rejecting that is extremely frightening. Now, the evidence is overwhelming. According to the U.S. National Climate Assessment released in May, the average global temperature has increased by more than 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit between 1880 and 2012, and temperatures in my state of Vermont and in New England have increased at least 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit just in the last 30 years. By 2100, New England could be as much as 10 degrees hotter. That is extraordinary. The debate that we should be having, and it would be an important debate because nobody has all the answers, is how do you deal with this crisis? How do we work with countries around the world to reduce carbon, to transform our energy system? How do you do that? That's tough stuff. Nobody has any magical answer. But that should be the debate. The idea that we're still debating whether or not this is a real issue when the scientific community tells us this is...
That the global warming is in some sense biased in our favor.
And how is global warming to you, Bryce?
I hate that thing.